So the first thing, it's already recording, so everybody sees me in the camera. I should be orange, red, and yellow. So that means I am a warmer color than the blues and blacks behind me. It's going to fluctuate if whatever's inside the screen. So if you take me out, you see how the trees all fluctuated?
Okay. So it's all relative to what's in the image at that time.
Exactly. So there's also a crosshairs on there, so that'll give you an exact temperature. It is really, really accurate. I would say within like half of a degree. So what's really nice about this and what we're looking for are those blues and blacks that are going to be moving. So there's going to be cold spots, right? Because the asphalt is going to be a little bit colder than me, because my body temperature should be pretty high. But if something, for example, let's say that black spot right there starts moving, like literally out of its place. Excuse us, folks. Okay. Yeah, you don't have to get off the way. Oh, you're good.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry, I forgot to start your audio. So that way you guys have the full September 30th, 9 p.m. So again, we're looking for those things that are going to actually be kind of moving intelligently across the screen. So right now we know like that's in the distance. It doesn't know what that sky is. So it only sees, it doesn't see in 3D. It's also not going to see through glass. So there might be some buildings we walk by and you're going to be like, oh shit, it doesn't see through glass. It looks at it as an actual temperature only. But if there's something influencing the temperature of that window, it's obviously going to turn a darker blue and maybe suddenly black. We can also see thermodynamics in reverse with this device. So thermodynamics law number 2 states, sorry, writer, research guy, you can't create or generate temperature. It has to balance or fluctuate. So if we start to see a cold spot, let me reverse that. If we start to see something heating up in a very quick demeanor, it means that there's a cold spot generating somewhere nearby. So we've caught that several times where we're just talking and all of a sudden the ground right there goes up from 78, 79 degrees all the way up to 86, 87. Like very quickly. I'm talking within seconds. So once that happens, we know somewhere outside the spectrum of what it sees, there's a cold spot generated. So you seem pretty technical, so I'm going to actually go with you on this guy.
All right.
So hold it horizontal all night long. That square means that it's recording. If it turns to a circle, hit it again. I'll have to splice 2 videos together. Not a big deal.
Yeah. So do we have to wear a mask?
What's that?
Do we have to wear a mask?
Oh, no. So there'll be certain places where I'm like masks up because it's a more popular area.
Okay.
But like for the most part, we're gonna be separated. Yeah, just have it. It's readily available. So he's good to go. So the loopholes, like I told you, I vape a lot. So there'll be times where I break away from you guys and I might have a few hits off my vape.
Yeah.
Drinking outdoors helps. That's also why I carry a drink. So I don't want to have to go through my whole medical explanation with some police officer. So if I have a drink in my hand or my vape, they're not stopping me. Spirit boxes. We're going to use several types tonight. So this one in particular will record the entire radio sweep session. So do you guys know what a spirit box is or what it does?
No.
Okay, perfect. So it is basically think of a what's the word I'm looking for? A police scanner. Okay, where you normally just turn the dial to kind of scan for the different police things.
Oh.
This is going to do that for us. It's going to do it at a very quick rate. Your TV shows are going to make it very fast. So it's a very staticky type sound. I slowed this one down because you guys are amateurs. You need to hear something other than a disembodied voice. Disembodied voices don't come through often. They will come through on the tour, but not often enough where you're going to get excited. So sometimes you have to think of this as Bumblebee from Transformers. Do you guys remember Bumblebee,
Yeah.
how he talked through the radio?
Yeah.
Same principle. So there's radio DJs, there's commercials, a song lyric. If you can make it out, I want to know what it is. If you can't hear anything because it's too difficult for your ears to be trained to that in such a short amount of time, it's okay. You're going to have the full recording, and tomorrow morning I'm going to point out at least 3 to 5, well, tomorrow afternoon rather, 3 to 5 different spots of things that I heard. They might not even be relevant to where we were, but I'm still going to point out like, hey, this came out loud and clear, fun for the whole family. Doesn't make sense, but we heard it loud and clear.
Yeah.
Does that make sense for you now? So let me go ahead and get this set up and get you guys recording. This is actually going to go to you. But again, if you guys want to help each other out with it, by all means. So the only thing you... What's that?
Where do you get all these gadgets?
Most of them? Amazon.
Oh, nice.
This one is actually made by a company called Ghost Stop. It's in Florida.
Okay.
So I'm an affiliate with them. So I have this gadget, and this is like by far one of my favorite things. So the cool thing about this is it's already recording. We can't hear it. It's already on mute, but it's still recording regardless. It's going to be at a nice even level all the way across. So when I'm in places like the Flight 93 Memorial, where it's supposed to be a memorial, and you're supposed to respect the dead and that kind of thing, this guy gets turned on, thrown in my pocket. Nobody knows I even have it. I listen to the data later.
Yeah.
So even when I'm talking and we have the volume down, it's still recording for us.
Okay.
So it's okay. That's why I love this one so much. I do have an SB7, which is the same one they use on the ghost hunting TV shows. But when I have a group of 10, I kind of separate the two so that way nobody's crossing the streams. So the only thing you need to know is there's a volume turnstile right here at the very top. That's all you need to know. And I'll say, go ahead and turn it up a little bit, and there'll be certain places where I'm like, we might spook some horses, so let's kind of keep it down. Of course, when I'm talking and telling a story, I don't like to shout. Obviously, I don't have a very big projected voice. It's bad enough I got to scream over traffic, but when we're having our protests, I'm screaming over helicopters. So let's go ahead and keep it down for now. I just wanted to point out where it was at. And basically, I'll say, look, spirit box is up, and that way you turn it up, and I send you off. Any skeptics? Anybody not believe in ghosts?
I believe in them.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
I always liked watching the Ghost Hunters show. There's definitely a lot of things that happen, whether you think that stuff is faked in those shows or not, that it's like, I've definitely seen things that it's like are unexplainable of normal goings on, if you will.
Yeah.
So I would tell you and I do watch a lot of those shows. I watch a lot of them based on their equipment, because Grant Wilson on Ghost Hunters, he's using the new Eddie, which is an amazing tool. It basically has all of this stuff in one gadget.
Nice.
Really cool. Yeah. And they have several of them. So it must be nice to have A&E pay for your equipment.
Yeah.
Because those things run about $250 to $400 a pop, depending on which model you have. So, but again, I will eventually have one. It'll probably be carried with me or my daughter. My daughter sometimes comes on the tour too.
Nice.
But anyway, so the TV shows will hype things up. They don't always explain everything, and they always give you the suggestion of what they thought they heard. That's why I like giving you guys the spirit box. And you're going to try to verify everything, even on things that I'm going to use, that it's going to be on your audio. It's going to be up to you to verify. Because I'll say, like, if I hear something on my spirit box, I'll say, okay, it said Marlena, rewind by 5 seconds. That way, you're going to get an MP3. You can move it back 5 seconds and verify it. So again, I'm not making stuff up for you guys and not hyping it up like a TV show. So EMF meters. So they use this particular one on the ghost hunting shows on purpose. It is very sensitive. So there's 3 different types of electromagnetic fields that it will measure. So the first one is natural. It comes from the earth. That's why it's green now. Okay, it's just the on button because the natural EMF is there. The second one is from electronic devices or man-made objects. So it's going to be cell phones, parking meters, wires, those kind of things. That's going to make it pulse or go into a rhythm. If you can tap your foot to it or get a little dance going on, we don't want that either. We want something that's a little crazy. We want it to go erratic. If we can't make out what the rhythm is, we probably have something else paranormal going on, where we really need to listen to the spirit box at that point, and or really get a nice full 360 view of what's happening around this particular device. It doesn't make any noise, so you're going to have to kind of keep an eye on it. At times I might say, where's our EMF now? And it's not because I know trigger spots.
Yeah.
It's literally because I want to see if everything's still staying somewhat consistent. And I'll give you the gist of every location we're going to go to and how to use each specific device before we go into them. So I'll give you a very quick short story. I'm not going to give you the elongated ones because those guys love to draw things out. And even the other tour that you took down south, it was probably because they're great storytellers. Right? It's not that I'm a bad storyteller. I'm giving you the facts of things that you need to be watching for, and clues to be listening in for. So everybody's probably going to be huddled around it. You guys are all friends and or other situation. But, I mean, you guys are going to be pretty close and listening to one of the spirit boxes that's actually happening. So I'm trying to think of what else can I give you? Because those two, definitely need a focus.
Yeah.
So we're going to try something else.
I'm sure I would see a color. Just
So I do have
you
different...
said it makes a noise.
No, it
A
makes
rhythm
no noise.
Did you say a rhythm noise?
There's no noise.
At all.
You
Whatsoever.
said if it's going back and forth,
Yeah.
it would be a rhythm.
Okay, cool.
So you don't want that.
Let's say Jonathan actually finds something on his... We're going to debunk it first. I actually have different thermometers in there that usually goes to one person. There's 2 different types. There's an infrared thermometer that measures surface temperature. So what the problem is it won't measure the gun or the air between the gun and the red dot of wherever it landed. It's only going to measure wherever it landed. So I do have an ambient thermometer as well. So I debunk things with the infrared, and then I prove things with the ambient. So again, that usually goes to one other person. In the event we actually need it, I'm going to keep my bag with me. So the neuralizer from Men in Black, so you guys aren't going to remember anything. It's actually a grid pen.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
what does this thing actually do? It helps you see things you can't see with the naked eye. Obviously my hand is sticking right out, and when I pull it away, those lasers go away. So a perfect example of that would be smoke. Because smoke will linger and show you what the lasers look like. See how that kind of showed up there? So lasers are very dangerous because they can get me arrested and a good big old fat fine.
Yeah.
I do have another one, but I haven't caught anything with it yet. And it's kind of cool because it's squares instead of dots. So the squares allow me, if we catch something and it shows up on the camera and I'm quick enough with my phone to actually get a picture of it, I can then put it into 3D software and get a full 3D view of our apparition of whatever we caught. I haven't caught anything with it yet. This one's way more active because it's way brighter. To give you an example of how far this will go, everybody watch that building over there?
Oh, wow.
I mean, this thing will shoot all the way up East Bay Street and land. Like, it's a laser.
Wow.
And these batteries are about half dead. So if that kind of tells you, like, so
Just
it's not
how-
an all-the-time
yeah.
tool. I'll
Yeah.
kind of let you know when we're allowed to use it.
Oh God, you gave him the laser.
So-
I have the same thing, just
It's almost like a pocket
Just a
item
dot.
until we're, ready. So I do have a backup EMF in case your battery drains. It does happen from time to time. I tried a battery tester. You guys know those cheap little slider battery testers, and they just don't last
Oh
long
yeah,
enough.
the frequency, the radio frequency ones. you
No,
talking
it's
about, or-
actually you put a cell battery in there, so a AAA, AA, C battery. You slide it in, and I had rubber bands holding everything together because it's not spring loaded, and literally it's worked on some tours, but most tours it's bunk. So like within 20 minutes, it says that it's dead. I can let it cool off, put the battery back in, and it says it's still good.
Oh, wow.
But I don't want something like that. I don't want to have to play with something. I want something we can easily read, so forth and so on. But anyway, I do have an EMF in case yours backs up, and I test it constantly just to see how sensitive it is. But I am going to use 2 different types of spirit boxes on my phone. So let's talk about this one first. This one's actually going to give us words right there in the center where the 3 dots are, and then it's going to save those words to a list. My last group actually had 87 words, which is really, really high. We're going to clear them out because they already have their list. I usually get only about 50 to 60 words per tour for 90 minutes or so. 80% of this is bunk. It's bullshit. Doesn't mean anything. It's meant to be a game and a hoax. However, I get more evidence that ties into what's going on with that spirit box, the EMF activity, so forth and so on. Again, I don't get excited about one tool going off. I need several. Sometimes I can't see that until the morning. So until I look at this list with the timestamps on it, I'm going to try to relate something to it every single time. But again, in the morning, if I can't verify it with links and give you guys the data, it's bunk. I don't need it. So again, if we get 50 to 60 words, maybe 5 of those words might mean something. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The other one I'm going to use is a reverse spirit box. So what the heck is a reverse spirit box? It's a man and a woman literally just saying random words, and then they flip the audio backwards.
Oh well.
So it's going to sound like complete gibberish. To some people it's super creepy. But if I get an intelligent answer out of a question I'm asking and it comes through in forward motion, we obviously have something intelligent with us. You guys kind of have the gist of how that works? Alright, so let me play this EVP for you that I got out of that, just to give you an example of how accurate and how forward sounding it is. Now, I got this about 2 weeks ago now, and it is by far the clearest and longest EVP that didn't make sense until I started looking at the rest of the data. You guys all hear it? Let me play it again.
5 seconds. That's
Yeah.
breakfast.
Okay, so let me explain. Your spirit box, when I went through the data the next morning, said, I'll fix you, And then the word list that I show you gave me the word tea. So I got I'll fix you. A minute later, I got baked beans breakfast. And then another minute and a half later or so, I got the word tea. I was talking about a woman from England. Baked beans are a thing for breakfast over in England.
The British breakfast or whatever.
Right. So, and tea.
Yeah.
So that kind of just solidified everything right there. And it was like, holy crap, that makes sense. And one of my guests, I didn't know anything about baked beans in England. One of my guests told me, I was like, guys, you're never going to believe what I just heard. So I caught up with my group, and they were just like, yeah, baked beans are a thing in England. I'm like, well. And Eliza every time, she keeps giving me either the word breakfast or the word beans whenever I'm there since then. So it's kind of like it's a common theme now. Like, she wants to keep making me food. All right, so everybody got kind of like our first place is kind of like a practice area. So I'm gonna kind of work with you guys individually to kind of show you like what we're looking for, and then how everything's gonna work collectively because you guys are all together anyway. So this stays open all night, and all I got to do is turn the volume up and down and use both spirit boxes at the same time. That's why you guys heard a little bit of static and chirping on that recording, because it's both of them. So we start here for a reason. This place used to be called Big John's. Big John was a football player for the 1947 Giants. Okay, so he was a linebacker, number 52. Again, these are data and facts of things you could be listening for when we get to our next location. But Big John used to sit in the back of the bar, and we got the Citadel, about 1.5 miles, 2 miles away. I should actually measure that. But he would nod off to the bartender if the cadets were of age or not. And one night, 2 guys came in, not of age. So Big John cuts them off. The 2 guys get pissed and leave. They come back the next night, and they steal the cash register from the front of the bar. Well, Big John, sitting in the back, pulls out his .45, shoots, kills, and the bullet ricochets and lands in the wall. So, the guy died, obviously. That bullet hole is still here. The bullet isn't, obviously, but they dug it out, but the hole is. The previous owner of this bar, Cane Rum Bar, actually left it there. All he did was cover it with a panel. So it is said, at times, people that sit in front of this bar will start to get dizzy, headaches, queasiness, any kind of weird shit like that. I bring this shit up on purpose. Here's why. I've had people pass out from this tour on a night just as cool as this one.
Wow.
Too much activity. I've had witches look at me and say, I'm out. Too much. I'm not kidding. Like, this is serious shit. If any of you guys are actually not feeling well, the slightest headache, I need to know. Because I'm going to get you to safety quickly. It's that serious. The first time somebody passed out on me, the next day I was in CPR class. I just don't want to ever use it.
Yeah.
Luckily, I usually have a nurse on board. So, the other times that it's... Really?
Yeah.
Happens every time. Good. So, the other times that people have passed out, I've literally had a nurse on board, and we were somewhat close to the candy shop where I can go up and get some bottles of water, you know, whatever I need to do. So I didn't have to use my CPR. It was just a matter of, like, these people drop like wet noodles because it's just too much. And I don't say that to scare you guys, because obviously I'm after a scientific method more so than a scary ghost tour. So, again, it's that important. Just let me know. The other story here is, did you guys take any other tours in Charleston?
No.
We went to Fort Sumter earlier today.
How was that?
I was here when I was like a junior in high school, and it's cool for the historic value of it, but it's just realistically, with COVID, they have a lot, like the museum thing inside is closed, so you can kind of just like walk around the fort and that's about it. But, I mean, the historic value is cool. When I was here, when I was in high school, we stayed on the Yorktown.
Okay.
At Patriots Point. That was really cool. But it's just, you know, it's pretty much just walking around and listening to the park rangers over there for
I've
5,
never
10
been because
minutes.
it takes a boat to get over there. And
Yeah.
I don't do boats.
Really?
Yeah, I don't do boats. I hate to fly. I'll fly if I have to and on a lot of medication. But I hate flying. But the Yorktown is actually haunted as shit. I did an investigation there too.
Oh, nice.
So it's on the podcast.
Yeah, that's there was a lot of creepy shit that happened on that ship.
It's
when
actually
we were...
very friendly. So
Well, I mean, it was just strange.
Yeah.
Strange things.
I can imagine if you spent the
Yeah.
night there.
We spent like 3 or 4 nights there.
Wow. Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, and that's where all high schoolers playing hide and go seek and
Yeah,
shit
yeah.
on the boat and just like sitting there, and it's, you know, old boats creak and stuff anyway. So it's that, and then it's just start hearing things, and I was like,
Everything my daughter and I got out of that investigation was biblical and religious. Everything. The whole thing was themed out. My daughter,
Interesting.
and she's just like, why does it keep saying stuff like preacher and pray for us and, you know, all kinds of, I'm like, you have to remember the times, London. My daughter's name's London, sorry. I was like, this is a time where guys were probably praying for their lives. They, you know, they were talking 1940s here. You know, religion was a thing. Mm-hmm.
You know, not that it isn't now, but she's not raised around it because of me. So it's kind of like I don't follow any specific religion.
Okay.
So she just, like, she doesn't get, like, you go to church every Sunday. She doesn't understand those things. I was raised Orthodox, where church was, you suited up every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just what you did. You spent the whole day at church. You know, it was literally a whole day back then. But at any rate, like, that was a very unique investigation. But anyway, the reason why I ask is because they talk about the earthquake a lot. Did anybody talk to you guys about the earthquake we had? We only had one, 1886. One major one, anyway. It was a 7 point something on a Richter scale. I don't think they can measure the exact based on the times. But a piece of the mantle that's above your heads also wraps around the front of the building, and a piece of it cracked off and hit somebody in the skull and killed them. And Paul, previous owner, has claimed to see shadows out here right on East Bay Street. I don't have any valid proof of that, but I trust Paul enough where he can actually give me, you know, valid information. Let's see if anything else came up before that. Got a couple of things. Hug, William, Dignity, and Killer. And I don't know the person's name that Big John killed either.
Oh, wow.
But I do have a list of all of his teammates. So, and some of them have weird names like Skippy. So if Skippy comes up, it's kind of like, it's a direct, like, oh shit, I get it. And then all of a sudden you hear his number. I can match that up. That's verifiable evidence. You guys done hearing me talk for a few minutes? You want to go walk around?
Sure.
Do it.
All right. Let me lock this up real quick. I know, I talk a lot. You guys got to shut me up every once in a while.
No, it's fine.
The books must be long.
Actually, they're not. After Atlantis will probably be about 120,000 words, which is equivalent to about 850 pages.
Oh, wow.
That's going to be a pretty big...
Whole section.
Yeah, it's a big project. So, let's go this way.
This is a good time to do all this road stuff in.
Yeah, I'm originally from Ohio. And when I moved to South Carolina, I moved to Myrtle Beach. This company I was working for moved me, my ex-wife, and 2 kids all down here. Of course, she wasn't my ex-wife then. But then, when she and I split up, I moved to Charleston based off of my field is pretty dark to begin with, and I was getting all the doors slammed in my face from the Myrtle Beach locations. So I was calling them up because I was only working with a psychic then, and the psychic was my device. I didn't have all these gadgets. I was trying to prove his ability. I was going to write a nonfiction book just about him. He's that good. We're still friends, but he doesn't come down here for my investigation, so I started using devices. Half the gadgets you guys actually have in your hands right now were my daughter's birthday gift, and I took it all back when I lived in 6 feet. Alright, so a couple things here. The Crew Cafe behind you, the 2-story house over there, it's a cafe now. Yeah. They have a claim of a suicidal haunting. I did get a little bit of an EMF upstairs, and I did a quick walkthrough. However, it's very hard for me to find title deeds, places that were considered slave homes. You're getting a little bit, it's good. And it's gone. So, slave homes didn't have addresses. So I don't know if that's a rebuild or reconstruct in addition. I have no idea what's going on. I don't know when the suicide happened. I can't find any newspaper clipping on it. It's a mystery. So whatever they have in there, I could probably debunk a lot of it with old electrical wiring and such, but until I do a full investigation, I'll never know. The stop sign just beyond that. So I want everybody to kind of picture the peninsula of Charleston in your head. It was much skinnier back in colonial times, Revolutionary War. So ship rolls up, the water would be over here, probably a good block closer, shoots a cannonball, and it lands right at that stop sign. Now, those buildings and houses down there were all original.
The cat.
Yeah, you got like cats falling around down here. There's a black and white one that likes to follow me around. I'm a big animal person, so it doesn't surprise me.
Me too.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about dogs later.
I have 3 of them.
What do you got?
I got a pit bull boxer.
Okay.
Well, we have a pit bull boxer, and then we have a new one. He's almost 2, but we thought he was a Pyrenees.
Okay.
I don't think he is. I think he's a shepherd retriever. And then my oldest one is a pit lab.
Okay.
They're all rescues. So.
I have 2 mini dachshunds.
Okay.
So I have one short hair. He's a piebald apple, so he looks like a chocolate chip cookie being covered in milk.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You kind of get the gist of that?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
It's the only way I can explain its color. And then Emily, she is a chocolate and tan silver wire hair. So her head is silver,
and then the rest of her body is chocolate and tan. And she's not considered a long hair. It's kind of like a in between a long hair and a short hair. It's kind of a bristly, but she can be a little bit of a, like we call her the disheveled mess, because she looks like she has bedhead all the time, because her head's like silver, and she looks like she's 1,000 years old, and she's only, is she a year now? Yeah, she's like a year and 3 months.
Aw.
So, and she's got a beard bigger than mine when I grow it out. Like it's funny. I got to trim her out. But anyway, so that would have been a piece of history that I found. I was like, oh, that's along my tour. I'm going to show it off, and because I do get a lot of history buffs on this tour that aren't believers in ghosts, so I got to kind of appease everybody. So where are you standing now? This is the Red Barn lot. This is where they keep the horses for the carriage rides. The horses are in there, so absolutely no lasers are to be going near that building whatsoever. As far as history on this building, there's not much. This is the same barn that they kept the horses that delivered milk. So we're talking 1860s to 1920s.
Oh, well.
That's all the history I have. The place, this lot, is haunted as shit. I never know who I'm getting. I'm actually getting a few names now. So I got the name Ryan. So that would be possibly a teammate from Big John, so I'll have to dive into that. Again, I'm not a sports guy, so I don't have to memorize everything. But I get weird, random things here. I get teammates. I have, there's a recent, very sad story that just happened in this area with one of these buildings. I don't really want to point it out just because it's somewhat recent, very touchy. But I get information from that too. And I've been diving more and more into that guy and his family. But we'll get weird, random things. Stable boys. You can ask certain things. Let's kind of talk about your spirit box for a split second. So your TV shows just start spitting off questions. Who's here? Come touch my hand. Those kind of things. We don't do that. That's not how real investigations go. It's literally, you ask a question that's a non-yes or no question. So the reason why I say non-yes or no is the S-E-O, yes or no, phonetically, is very common in the English language. If I hear houses, I can mistake that for yes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the O sound is also, it's very short. So if I hear although, they said no. It could be something completely different. So you ask things that are non-yes or no questions. And you ask the same question once every 30 seconds for 3 or 4 tries. And then it's literally a conversation. Okay, you don't want to answer that? I'm going to ask you another question. And you kind of go into something else. So an example would be, what color is the barn? You're listening for the color red.
Yeah.
You don't get an answer? Rephrase it after 30 seconds. Can you tell me what color the barn is? Try it at least one more time if you're still not getting anything. Say, okay, I'm going to ask you something else. Can you tell me what's inside the barn? Now you know you're listening for horse. It's a very distinctive sound. And I'm giving you easy things now because the next locations, it's not going to be something you actually know the answer to. We also want to keep in mind, too, we have basically 6 communication devices running right now. Sorry, I had to count because I don't have a full team. If you ask a question, the answer can go to his audio, because it is recording. It could go, he could all of a sudden get a spike in red, because that's the color you're looking for. I could get either one of my spirit boxes to tell me the color red, or it can go straight to this audio that we're not hearing right now. So again, if you're not getting an answer, it's okay. You move on. It can be frustrating, because if you're doing this for hours at a time in one location, now we're going to hit about 6 locations today. And they're going to be somewhat brief, 10, maybe 15 minutes tops. So that way you guys get a gist of all these different stories and how you go about doing this. This is more of a teach and train, if you didn't catch on to that. As far as what you're going through, you're going to get nice slow sweeps of this. You got a million different types of material. You have metal, asphalt, brick, wood, vehicles, foliage. You're going to learn a lot about thermodynamics. And I just got the word spin. I just told you to give me a nice full 360.
Oh, well.
We're basically going to be watching you. So the two of you need to team up. So when your thing goes off and you're getting a nice good red something, if you can get it up that high, that's when you guys are going to stop. Now if it goes away, you need to start again. Start walking again. Try to find it. That's why it's called hunting. You're going to move. They're not going to come to you. In the event you're actually in a red zone, what I call, where it's literally just spiking all over the place and red is part of that, we're going to ask the spirit to step away and prove that they're here. Because if they step away, it's going to go back down to green.
Yeah.
So, again, let's kind of circle around. Let's get your spirit box up just loud enough so we can hear it, because of the horses. We don't want to really spook them. Because if it's too loud, like a loud blaring radio, they're gonna kick. Scare the shit out of all of us because it's loud. They're kicking metal. But let's get that running, and let's start kind of walking and seeing what kind of hot spots we have there. Like I said, I'm getting a ton of words already, so. I think Ryan might be connected to Big John. So let's start with the simple question that I asked you before. You know, they're already listening to us, so they're not in the box kind of thing. It's just what color is the barn? If somebody's actually here with us, what color is that barn? Go ahead and turn up your spirit box so we can all get a little bit of a listen. Surprised you came up with forgiveness. Again, this
I got orange now.
I mean, it's given us a little bit. Since it's really just going up to orange, let's kind of stop it. Yeah. Again, I'm not leading you anywhere.
Yeah.
Saying, okay, I know right here it turns red.
Are you wanting red all the way down here? Or
Yeah, so even if it's giving us a little bit, I mean, that's obviously some kind of activity that's happening.
Yeah.
So there's somebody hanging out here.
Yeah.
And it's almost like they're kind of hiding. I'm never going to put my feelings into things like I think this or I feel that. I got to go based off the data. So the only time I ever do that is if I collect all the data of a lot of darker things happening, I will say we need to go. It's only happened 4 times on my tours. But if I say we need to go, we got to go. You go. Okay, well, we're going to take this because that seems to be the strongest. Look at they're walking away now. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, so we know somebody's here. We want you to tell us what's inside the barn. You got a lot of different boxes you can talk to. What's inside the barn? What type of animal? Yeah, they're hiding out for me tonight.
Keeps coming and going. Oh, there it goes.
You seeing anything weird on there?
Not really. So it'll be a cold spot typically that'll show up.
So yellow and white are your hottest areas because it's white, hot, black, cold. So even if you got a bunch of yellow and all of a sudden a red spot starts to move, it's still a good 3 to 7 degrees colder than the yellow. I just told you guys to focus on the blues and blacks. Dilemma. What's the dilemma? Is there a problem with what's inside the barn? Yeah, you just spiked red for a second.
Oh, yeah, there it goes.
Okay, so now we definitely see you. You must be close enough. I need you to tell us what's inside that barn.
Oh, there it goes.
Bible says, and I did get the word minister earlier.
Yeah.
Do we have a priest with us? Is there a priest? Tell us what your first name is if you're a priest. Grandmother. So what's a female priest called? Is there a word for that?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Oh, well,
Gray.
great. We all got computers in our hands. Let's Google it.
My phone's dead. You got yours?
I'm good. I got it.
Okay.
So female priest. Priestess.
Priestess, what the fuck?
Priestess.
Weird. Okay.
Are you considered a priestess? Can you give us that word on one of these boxes? Also notice, I don't use the name of our actual technology. We don't know what time period these people are from.
Yeah.
So I'll say boxes, and a lot of times I'll say, hey, can you make this box go to red? Or look at this box
Showed
with
up
a red
practice.
light. And that just said something too.
Oh, that was going away. Oh, a little more.
Again, I updated this app so I have a bigger vocabulary. So priestess and practice
Are similar,
very similar.
you know, yeah, and how they sound.
I got memory. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Tell us what your first name is before we move on. We're gonna leave, so it's your last chance to tell us what your name is.
Let's go back to lemon.
Yeah, but there's still activity, so
Yeah.
she's hovering. It's weird, I don't normally get female voices. Must be you she's attracted
Hey!
to.
Oh, there it goes again. Look. You said that and it got red.
Alright, we're gonna leave. Can you say goodbye? Take care.
Wow.
We'll take it. Alright, so let's
Take
set that
care.
down. Let's go learn some history. That was pretty cool.
That's cool.
I didn't really seem to get any temperature changes on here.
And again,
I kinda just-
I watch this on my TV.
Yeah.
I upload it to YouTube, and then I send it over to my website, so you guys have all your data in one spot. So I'll watch it on YouTube on my TV, so that way I can see the bigger picture.
Ah. Yeah, it's so weird.
That was pretty cool with the take care.
Yeah.
A lot of times we'll get a goodbye, or just a bye.
Cool.
Need a mask?
Yeah. Take that one, Bruno.
I mean, I've got my other one with me too.
Alright, so
Oh, it turned red.
Red.
swear I'm not going to drag you guys to parking lots all night long. So this is the Charles and Eliza Pinckney Mansion site. Are you getting anything?
Spiking, yeah, right.
Okay. Alright, so a lot of things actually happen here. And your ghost tours aren't going to take you here because there's really nothing to look at. So but we're going to actually investigate. If I were to have a grand finale, this would be it.
Go crazy.
Yeah. It's a good sign. So here's what happens here. Charles and Eliza had a son named Charles and they had a nephew named Charles. So there's 3 different Charles.
Oh, wow.
So the son and the nephew, signers of our Constitution. The son was obviously raised here. This was his home. The father was a big politician too, and I'm not going to tell you which political party he belonged to, so hopefully it comes up later. But I like to talk about Eliza only because she comes through more often. Charles actually has been coming through quite a bit lately, but Eliza is usually the one that likes to chat. So Eliza married Charles to stay here in the United States. She's from England. The baked beans breakfast, this is where it occurred. So dad was sick, thought he was dying, wanted all his kids home. Eliza said, I don't want to go home. I don't think you're dying. So she got married, became a U.S. citizen, and stayed here. pretty big age gap between the two. Dad got better, made amends. Dad starts sending her gifts over from England. Well, she was a botanist. Her garden would have been lined up. Well, they moved the dumpster. But basically right where you're standing up, right up. It would have been lined up this way, all the way out.
Really?
Did I say the wrong name?
No, we did exactly what I wanted to.
You said Alfredo.
Everyone
Alberto.
says Alfredo.
Oh my god.
No, we all mess around and
We
call
all
him that all the
call him
time.
I did call you the wrong name.
You did, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
It's
That's why I go by
Alfredo,
Berto.
But
It's
people call him
easier.
Berto.
Okay,
I
Berto
always
works.
tell people
I'll take it.
Alfredo.
Fredo.
Because everyone does call him
I
that.
feel bad now. So the mansion would have been in the front, garden right where we're standing. I was just going to call you Sauce all night, but I didn't think you'd actually enjoy that either. But it seems like we're all chuckling about it. The slave homes would have been lined up where those parking spaces are now. So again, those plants that he sent over, one of them happened to be indigo. So you guys have been driving all over town and walking around. You've probably seen the word indigo a few times. Maybe
Indigo? Indigo.
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 Okay, like purple.
So indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. That's what we use still today. So Jeff Goldblum actually,
That's what I meant.
Funny.
a lot of times this will tell us what's happening around us. So again, we were all just laughing. So I'm not surprised. But anyway,
Probably laughing with you.
Jeff Goldblum did an episode on denim on Disney Plus on his show The World According to Jeff Goldblum. And he actually shows you what indigo looks like. It's really cool. But anyway,
It is blue, right?
yeah.
I thought it was purple for some reason. But yeah, it's
Indigo in the spectrum is like a purplish
blue.
color.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But indigo, the plant, makes blue dye. That would be the raw plant that makes blue dye. Interesting. So, at any rate, there's a couple things about Eliza. Oh, not to mention, she was the businesswoman that sold indigo overseas to make it a huge cash crop for Charleston when our rice plantations went downhill. So you guys probably been all over and seen all the plantations. Well, Snee Farm in Mount Pleasant was where they had to move this cash crop. She, again, overseas, we're talking, again, colonial times. No such thing as a businesswoman.
Yeah.
Huge. So, a couple things about her that you can ask on the spirit box. Well, we're all going to ask. And you're going to go through it because I pretty much did all the work over there. I'm going to put you to work this time.
I don't know.
So, Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles. She goes by her maiden name. So it's
That's
Eliza
crazy, right?
blank Pinkney. Anytime I say Eliza's name, it usually spikes the red.
See, you like it.
So I can ask her what her maiden name is?
Maiden, not middle. A lot of people mistake middle. It's maiden. Try to find out what that is.
Okay.
How old was she when she got married? How old was she when she died? Where did she die from? Where is she buried? All of those things matter because they're very specific answers, and I'm only giving you questions that she's answered for me in the past. We're right. You can ask what happened to the mansion. You can ask, they had 4 kids, only one of them was a daughter. Trying to find out what the daughter's name was. She's given us that before. Plain as day, and these are all very specific answers either on the spirit box that I have or directly on there. Now, if you're not getting the answers or anything I'm not giving you what those answers are. So you're going to have to listen. You come back and say, was the daughter's name Elizabeth? And I say no, but at least you're listening. That's a good sign. Go off on your own questions. Try something else. I'm just giving you a lot of the different data of things that she's done for me in the past. Now, I'm actually going to break away from you guys at this point because I want to get you some audio with the reverse spirit box, so that way we're not crossing the streams. Bad Ghostbuster joke, I know, but it works for this tour. But again, try to find out a couple of those things. So you're going to be asking us questions, or I don't care who asks them, but somebody needs to get some answers out of that box. And I'm actually going to see where you guys go, and the light is blinking. So, Captain Sauce, hold up your EMF facing that building like you're going to take a selfie with it.
Oh, wow.
So if that light is blinking, and notice I said if because it's not always blinking,
Yeah.
it a lot of times will be in the same
Yeah,
pulse.
it's
Yeah,
it'll go, and this is kind
It's
of right
with-
behind it.
It's within 2 frames on a video.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
So again, it doesn't always happen, and you can do it from anywhere in the lot. Doesn't matter. You can go right up to that wall. If you're gonna use your laser in here, keep it below the wall. There are businesses and homes around us. We don't need to disrupt any. And keep in mind, vehicles can be sensitive to lasers with the alarm systems, especially when that bright. As far as you go, you're gonna learn a lot about vehicles, and you're gonna find out which
Windows are cold.
Well, you're also gonna find out which car's been here the longest. So if you're a car thief, that would be probably your only tool. So again,
We're gonna stay within the lot. I'm gonna separate from you guys. I want to see where you guys go first. But I would suggest the three of you just kind of stick together and see what happens. And again, go find a red spot with him and wherever you're drawn to with the spirit box. But you can go a little louder and prouder and do it with the spirit box. Somebody.
Where do you want to go?
Red everywhere.
Keeps getting a lot of red spikes, like right here.
Yeah. Who said?
Stoplight.
Red spikes. Stoplight.
If she said stop, you should stop.
Ask questions.
I don't know what to ask.
He gave us a couple. What was your maiden name? Ask questions.
What was your daughter's name?
Are you black?
What was your daughter's name?
She said something. I didn't quite catch what it was, though.
Well, she said, oh boy. What is your maiden's name?
Like going away.
What kind of plants do you like? What is your daughter's name? What was your business idea?
Are you with us right now?
You guys hear anything?
A little bit.
What'd you get?
Well, I can't make out if she's answering some questions, but Berto said, are you here? She's like, I'm with you.
Oh.
Yeah.
I did get like yellow, and I looked over, and you were like right around that yellowish
Yeah.
color. I was like, okay, so hang out over there. And I actually told her to send the answers over here with the red box, with the red light. So
It
that's
was
that.
really red. Too.
Let me show you how I use mine. So turn yours down.
Oh, it's gone.
So I'm gonna ask a number, a specific number. Eliza, can you tell us how many of us are actually standing here in this circle? Eliza, how many people are here, including me? I heard 8, but that's not right. Are you drunk tonight, Eliza? You seen 2 of all of us? How many are there?
Give us a number on the blue box. I heard 8 again. Not how many are with you, how many here, standing in this circle. I heard Nicholas. She calls my name out a lot. Like, it's usually not Nicholas, but it's... I heard measure. Again with the biblical priest stuff.
Neil.
Yeah.
Neil Singer. Here's your answer.
You realize it's KN?
Yeah.
It's all you.
No?
I've had that word before, but it was relevant to the story we were actually going through.
She still didn't tell me her maiden name either.
Video.
Said video.
Said video. So get a nice slow pan on everything.
Oh, it's going away. Oh, there it goes.
What colors do you see on that video? Not that you would know what the color video is. Talking like 17 I'm here every night. I mean, it's literally.
What was your daughter's name?
Say what?
Oh, she said Nicholas.
Eliza, you're not giving us much tonight. We're gonna go. I'm gonna give them all the answers myself. Can you at least say goodbye?
Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, she's... So I have to listen to that spirit box pretty closely. So here's the answers.
How's it going?
It just went.
Because...
Ooh.
I heard wait, please. Be nice. Eliza, are you gonna fix us breakfast? You wanna tell us what you're gonna make for breakfast? Food. What kind of food? There's a lot going on in there.
Maybe she's with a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, a lot. Like I said, Charles will show himself too, but he likes to just throw hints at us. Like he'll give us the word October twice because he was born in October and died in October. He'll say Republican. He was part of the Jeffersonian Republican Party when he first got started. So like he'll give us shit like that. So we have to kind of like Google him. Like he wants the recognition. He wants us to know what he was all about. But Eliza, he's usually like she'll just spout shit off. So the mansion caught on fire. The reason why I went up to that corner, it caught fire, second floor right above her. So a lot of times she'll just say it blew up, real quick. We'll get the word fire. Our daughter's name was Harriet. Maiden name was Lucas. So it's been Eliza Lucas Company. You can look that up. There's a ton of books on the page. There's more than what I told you tonight. She died at the age of 70 from breast cancer in Philadelphia.
dark.
Imagine that.
But you were over there.
When did it turn it?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Am I going to be sitting on
And it
It's
says
like-
21:55, but it's 9:55 now. So it could have been 10-15
It's
seconds.
literally just green now.
What are the questions that I have you ask? Oh, she's buried in Philadelphia. That's where she died. She was up there on business.
I asked what age she died.
70. The year she got married, a lot of times we'll hear the number 22. She was born on December 22nd and got married at the age of 22. So 22 is very significant to her. We've gotten that in the past too. So it's kind of like we had to Google that shit on the fly before too. It's kind of like, can't know everything. You know, I learn something new every day. So we're actually going to walk up East Bay Street about 4 blocks. We're going to go up to Lodge Alley. It's not a large group, so you guys should be able to keep up with me. But again, it's one of those masky areas. I'll have mine hanging from my ear, but I'll probably be vaping as well. And so, but again, it should be pretty dead up there. So, I mean, it's, what is it, Wednesday?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's take on.
Going into October.
No. Let's just put it this way. This month is actually going to get me the down payment on my new house.
Oh.
We've been waiting for October to jack the prices. Good enough.
Oh, she did tell us to stop at one place.
Did she?
Yeah, I stopped and then there
Were you guys walking?
Yeah. And there was words being made out, but I couldn't even figure out what they were.
Yeah, we were walking and it said like stoplight or something like that.
Okay.
Oh yeah, because I said, oh yeah,
Check out.
really
Because it's
great.
not recording
Yeah.
you guys. It only records the radio speed. Yeah, pretty cool job, huh?
Yeah.
Get to go grow something.
I always wanted to do it. My friend has a course in October where I'm in March.
Wow. Bless you. Bless you.
One more.
So we have a store that's not here. And because we actually had so much activity in those 2 locations, like if those 2 are kind of slower, I keep some of those extra places in my back pocket to take you guys to. But there's one up there, Sue Howard Carney, St. Philip's Church. They say that you can actually, there was an apparition caught. I've seen the photo. She died, Sue died, the mother, 10 days after the child. And then in 1988, a photographer was in town and took a photo. Got a full apparition of a woman wearing a shawl with a baby basket next to her over that grave. So that's it. So anyway, 1988, you can't debunk the picture with Photoshop, cell phones, and all the stuff we have now. So he sends it to Kodak. Kodak can't debunk the picture. So I don't normally show the picture on my tours because it's cursed. Any woman that holds it will start to not feel well. Any pregnant woman holding a picture will not have a good pregnancy. So I don't like showing the picture. That's why I give you guys the name. You can look it up on your own. Sue's actually come through on my spirit boxes before. So because I was calling her Susan Howard Carter. She corrected me and said Sue. So when I went home and Googled it, it was Sue, not Susan. I'm like, okay, I'll take the correction. Sorry. I don't think she meant it. It's just one of those legends and lores that I don't have a whole lot of proof with it, except for one day she come out and said it was Sue.
Everyone's over the mask now.
Yeah, that's about what it's looking like. It's even more loose in Florida.
Yeah, I heard. At first, I couldn't put that on without having it. It was horrible. So my mother-in-law makes all my masks anyway. So
big small, like child size one. Because if anything, it's going below the chin. So she has a nick, like frame that she uses when I send her more material. And on silver weeks, like I'll drive Uber Eats, you know, just, I gotta make cash. So this place for COVID, hurricane, or I'll drive Uber for a few days. And every restaurant, you gotta wear a mask. So it's like, I was literally like almost like holding my breath so I wouldn't gag while I was in the restaurant waiting for something. So I got used to it.
No, that's 400. Lexus.
Yeah, you got Magnolias.
That's why I try to do like more outdoorsy stuff. So that way my days off are a little bit
Sure.
here.
My wife works at Best Buy. They've been open this whole time, and she's living without a mask on for 9 hours a day. And I'm like, I can't.
It sucks.
Yeah, I work at Northrop Grumman back down in Melbourne, and in our shop we're supposed to be wearing one. Most people don't really. It's just we're inside, and usually most of the time we're all at our own workbench or whatnot.
Well, it doesn't make sense anyway. If you're working in the same room, you're still breathing the same air.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop kind of across from the doorway. So, kind of give you just where we're at. This is Lodge Alley. Just keep in mind, normally I run into the security guard. He usually locks up about this time. But I'm a little out of that door here, so. But Lodge Alley is actually one of our oldest streets. When I say streets, people used to live here. Like, these two buildings weren't here, so it was literally like shotgun, 3-room houses on this road. And this was a street where people lived. Cool thing is your spirit box is running, and I have every resident's name and their occupation that's ever lived here.
Oh,
So the cool thing is, I've actually done an archaeological dig here in between the clay bricks, and they found like some of their tools and silverware and little pieces of their clothing and such, and they were able to classify these people. So you keep in mind, again, the water's that way. Those buildings wouldn't have been there. Low tide, this place would have sucked to live in. Because low tide stinks like shit. It's bad. These people were lower class, obviously. They were still working, lower class, they were lower class. So it makes sense. But again, these are original clay bricks. We're talking pre-1790. So these are clay. That's why they're all waterlogged and they're not all evenly spaced. Because these were put down by hand, and the bricks were made by hand. These are clay. They're not actual made out of like the way the Masons used to make them. Speaking of, this is also where the Masons used to meet. You would have thought they would have seen the bad bricks down here and said, let's fix this, but they didn't. On a hot night, they would be down here in their suits and suspenders talking business. This building that you guys are leaning on is the Lodge Alley Inn. It has its claim of its own ghost. Every other hotel in town, none of them relate to history. I don't tell those stories. It is what it is. They want to claim they're not giving me a free night to go debunk it. Not worried about it. So, I have caught shadow figures in here. I do get a lot of weird light anomalies when I have the digital camera out. And blue orbs show up in here all the time. And I also did a study on orbs, podcast and blog episode where blue orbs are a little bit more of a peaceful type ghost. So again, lots and lots of blue orbs down here. Don't know why. My wife can't debunk them either. Like they're pretty legit and they're almost solid. Like you can't see them. That's how blue they are. We're not going to get a whole lot of EMF down here, so when we do, it's exciting because we don't get a whole lot. We get some at the front, like where we came in from East Bay because of Magnolia's giving off all their lighting and kitchenware and all that stuff. But the rest of this, if we actually get something, I'll be pretty stoked.
Yeah, as soon as we went down this alley, I turned around. I was like, what the fuck?
It's from Magnolia's, so it's nothing from any paranormal kind of state. It's just from the restaurant. But again, there's super cool things that actually happen down here. I used to tell stories of when I had the psychic as a tool in like one of my cases there. As they kept going and going and going. I do get the name Benjamin and John together a lot. They both lived here. We were just talking about the ocean and the low tide. Let's see anything else relevant. But Benjamin and John lived here in 1801. And they were 2 out of the 4 people that lived on this street. So when they show up together, I don't find that coincidence.
Yeah.
It's definitely something.
I also, like, we're going to get air conditioning out of the bottom of that door, so I'm sure you noticed that that's pretty blue. Like, you should actually have a full circle of air conditioning coming out this way. It should be
Yeah,
much cooler.
just about.
So at times, we've caught it twice now, there'll be like a string that comes up out of that cold air conditioning, and it's like, and it dissipates, and you can't see it anymore. It's the weirdest thing, and it's nothing I can explain. It's not that the air is going to move in one single string and go up into the air for nothing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, when I had 2 spirit boxes running, I usually, because you gotta imagine, I can't talk to the whole group as we're walking.
Yeah.
Somebody usually pairs up with me, and I start asking a bunch of questions. So the other spirit box, I tell them, go ahead and listen for names. Tell me what names you hear. I'm not going to give you what names they are until we actually reach the destination. Can you guys see? Can you turn the flashlight on?
I'm gonna step in real light.
Yeah.
I've got rubber ankles from playing soccer my whole life, so
We don't use that roll or anything.
Well, the Alfredo will fall.
Alfredo will
yeah, he's been tripping all week,
Oh, jeez.
falling over everywhere.
Broken everything.
And that's not the silverware that they found. When
What?
They found
They didn't have plastic back then?
no sporks. Damn it. Probably did. That's probably where the damn design came from.
I'm a big sport guy, man. That makes me disappointed. Yes.
Glad I didn't bring my jacket now.
It's nice. Especially because it's been super miserable in Florida for the last
God, it's been
2-3
horrible.
months.
Like 100 degrees.
This
We had
like
a couple weeks like that.
it's like 94, 95 to like 98 degrees, and then 80-90% humidity on top of that, so it feels like 108. Yeah, it's miserable.
We had a couple of weeks. It was like 2.5, maybe 3 weeks. And then it became real cold real quick. So it's kind of like, all right, I'm wearing shorts and t-shirts to hoodies and pants. So that's a great picture spot if anybody. So I tell the story out here now, first off, because it's a great course, it's a nice picture
5%.
for you guys. But this is a very tourist alley that we can walk through. Every go tour is a great alley. And it's a long dramatic story. It will be in about 4 minutes. But because the only one we felt that we can actually look at and watch for. So this is Philadelphia Alley now. This is this way a little bit between. But it used to be called Duelers Alley. So the story takes place when it was actually had duels in there. And I've been trying to see which ink is all night.
Oh. It goes up.
How was it getting ink up here?
It sucked. It's not done yet either because I couldn't do it. So I'll go back eventually.
So my grandmother read playing cards. It was a family secret. There was very few people that knew that she knew how to read playing cards. And playing cards original, that's what they were meant for. So every card has a birth card. Or every card has several birthdays attached to it. Obviously there's only 52 cards in a deck.
Yeah.
So there's 4 to 7 birthdays attached to one card. Well, mine happened to be the 10 of clubs. So I had somebody design a 10 of clubs logo, but I want to put my grandmother's card on the other side.
That's pretty
That's
cool.
where I learned about it. Now what sucks is my ex-wife's, her birthday is different from mine, but her card is also the 10 of clubs.
Oh no.
Yeah, so it's still my card.
Yeah.
That makes me curious. Of what mine
Actually, there
is.
are several. Actually, I did a blog post on which books to read to find what your card is, what your birth card is. There's some really cool books out there. Robert Lee Camp did one called Destiny of Your Cards. It's an amazing book. Like, if you don't want to read the cards and do layouts, because it'll bore you based on what year you were born. It tells you every year of your life based on the quarter and the way the planets line up. It's amazing.
Wow.
So it's really cool stuff, but it's a lot of studying to learn how to read it. But anyway, like just the book. Like the intro is like, here's how to use this book. It's
Oh
like
my
150 pages. Yeah, it's a lot of data. But anyway, obviously this is what I do for a living. So. Where was I? Oh, so the duel. So there was a doctor. His name was Joseph Brownlad, and he moved down here from Rhode Island. The initials RI for Rhode Island. Keep that in mind because it comes up again later. They're like branches. Yeah, but
Scan
nothing's
the
falling.
branches.
So, quick backstory. Last week I actually had a customer, and before I even got started over at Big John's, branch from the tree across the street fell right behind me.
Oh, branches.
Well, it scared the hell out of me. So, later on, this was, they were older than me, so I won't give you that. But, they were older than me. And later on, I wonder if the dime's going to show up. He said his wife. I said, okay, put me in on a dime. It's okay if something's personal that you're looking for, it's going to come through. He's like, anytime my mom, or I need a question to answer, my mom always makes sure there's a dime nearby.
Oh.
So I'm like, all right, that's kind of cool. We'll look for a dime all night. Or something to come through that says dime or 10 cents or whatever. Nothing came through all night. Go through the data the next morning. I was like, I wonder. Symbolism on the back of a dime. Oak branch.
Wow.
Means like strength and prosperity or some shit. So I was like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. I sent it over. I'm like, and I sent it directly to the guy, and I'm like, because I had his number too, and I'm like, dude, you got to check this out. Read it right now. Like, I was stoked. He's like, oh, that's cool.
That's what he said?
That's what I got back.
Wow.
So, I don't know if he's just not a texter, but I was like,
I
man.
was going to say,
but-
sometimes people are like
yeah.
that.
I mean, he was to himself. We'll say that. Very smart guy. He actually taught me a lot. Because some of the words that came up, it didn't make sense to me, but he's the one who taught me like what a draft horse was. Because we got what's inside the barn, and we got the word draft. I'm like, maybe that's the football draft. He's like, no, draft horses. So I had no idea what the heck a draft horse was. He taught me. I'm not too stupid to learn. I'm
Yeah.
a student. But anyway, the duel. So the doctor comes down from Rhode Island. He's supposed to get married to his fiancee Amanda. Amanda's parents just died, and she inherited a whole crap ton of money. The lawyer handling all that money said, you two aren't getting married. I think he's just after your money. So he says, send the doctor away. Let's prove that he can start his practice somewhere else, and he's not just after your money. So the doctor comes to Charleston. The coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. Not a very good start to his stay in Charleston. But somebody walking by named Ralph Isaacs, initials R.I. The reason I'm bringing that up is because it'll show up on somebody's spirit box. Usually. I usually get it about once a week. So, at any rate, Ralph says, you don't want to stay here, let me take you somewhere else. Grabs the doctor's bags and helps him walk over here to 59 Church Street. So, he rents a room from 59 Church Street, and he's doing pretty well. The practice starts taking off, they become friends. The doctor becomes known as the Whistling Doctor, because he's so happy that he's making all his money. Amanda's going to be moving down soon, blah, 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 you know. So, but Ralph is just from Charleston. He's an attorney. Attorneys back then aren't what we know now of an attorney. So he's just a normal guy. They used to go see plays together, but they had to sit in different seats because of where they were in society. So they talked about the plays on the way home. They go see Richard III at one of our many, many theaters. I don't know which one. Claim is Dock Street, probably because it's haunted. But they're talking about the actress on the way back. The doctor loved her. Ralph did not. Turns into an insult party on the doctor's fiance. So the two get pissed off at each other. They go their separate ways. I told you Ralph was from here. He has ties with the paper. So he writes in the paper what a disgrace the doctor is to the city of Charleston. So now it's just got the word row, as in they sit in different rows in the home. That's interesting. That's a little early. But anyway, so the doctor rebuttals from the newspaper ad, and he says, let's go settle this in Dueler's Alley. See how this goes. So the loser of a duel is what?
Dead.
Somebody's dying, right? The loser would normally go through, there's an opening directly over here on the other wall. You can see just the top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's the original wall. That doorway, the loser would go through that doorway, through the courtyard of St. Philip's, drop them engraved in the cemetery, throw some dirt on them, go celebrate the winner with a pint. Like that's how it went. So that didn't happen. So the doctor and Ralph come down back to back, 20 paces. They turn. The doctor points his gun in the air and he shoots. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted to prove a point. Let's make amends. Let's forgive each other. Ralph takes 2 shots below the knees. The doctor drops. Again, kneel. This is where that word kneel came up before. So his friends pick him up and they carry him to 59 Church Street. He dies 10 days later. So what's the moral of what we're going to be doing? You can hear the whistles as you walk through the alley. No matter what time of day it is, what day of the week it is, this is how quiet it is back here. Unless there's another tour walking by, then you hear the other people talking. This is how quiet it is. Even that hustle and bustle on East Bay Street, it's only a block and a half away from us right here. So it's this quiet even in the mornings, afternoon, whatever. I've caught 2 whistles that I couldn't debunk. Now, there are a lot of people in Charleston that know the story, and they like to walk by the alley and give you a whistle. So I just gave you an example of what it's not going to sound like on your audio. Otherwise, turn it up. If you're listening in the car, crank it up. It's going to be real faint. And it's going to be in the background. Again, there's no wind. So if you hear wind, it's somebody whistling. They also say you can hear the gunshots. I haven't caught that yet, but it's rumored. And somebody on the 4th of July said, are we going to be able to hear the gunshots? I'm like, I'm not trying to debunk it on the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Not going to happen. So you want to try to figure that one out on your own, that's up to you. A little bit more history on this. Again, I told you about the death gate, that I like to call that over there. The gate is not original over there, too, so I'll take you guys over there in a second in case you want to see it. But the bricks we're going to walk on to go through the alley get older as we keep going. These up here were replaced and repaired in the 1990s. Those down there were actually sun-dried by slave kids. So we still have their fingerprints and one full handprint at the end. And you can
That's
see
what
that
they
it's...
had in the fort.
Yeah.
The fort had fingerprints as well.
Kids.
Now, there's allegedly 3 places in Charleston. There's a newspaper article done by our big paper, Post and Courier. So if you Google handprint Charleston, it'll tell you exactly where they are.
Oh, wow.
So they're in a couple of places, but I thought it was only 3. I don't remember Fort Sumter being one of
There
them.
was the park ranger literally showed us. It was when you walk in, and over on the left-hand side, there's like the shells from Fort Moultrie, I believe it is, that came over. And in one of those sections, there's a brick right there that has like 3 fingerprints on it that are like
Oh, you're gonna see a hell of a
about.
lot more than just
Well,
one.
I'm just saying, is it's like it was about that far distance, and they were right there on the brick.
When they shoved it in.
Yep.
Yeah, it said, no, she said that that's when they were kids, you flip it over to let the bricks dry.
Yep.
And sometimes you would still see the fingerprints.
Well, this one down here, like the handprint, the thumbprint actually overlays into the next brick. And I've gotten the word drawing. This was a couple weeks ago, actually. And somebody said, I wonder if they did that on purpose. Put the brick in, then slap their hand into it. Because it's the way they were drawn. I was like, that kind of makes more sense. Because somebody tried to debunk that it wasn't a real thing.
Before Nervous came up on there, Dealer was on there, and we were talking about playing cards like a couple minutes ago. That was literally the word. Like, I looked at it and it said Dealer, and then
I seen it too, but
it
I
went to
automatically went
Nervous.
to card dealer.
Yeah, but we were talking about playing cards though.
Interesting. And that would have been a thing back in the 1800s to play cards a lot. Interesting. It's a stretch, but I'll take it. Yeah. So that down there, our spirit box, I'm definitely going to try to stay away from it if you're going to listen to it, just so that it can get more of a clear audio. But definitely give it a little listen, put it closer to your ear, and then I'll point out those handprints and fingerprints as we keep going. But that's somebody's house right next to it. Their address is actually Philadelphia Alley. So we try not to be disrespectful, so like no lasers at the very end. And normally, if there's another tour, I say mask up, but you guys were already there anyway. But that's cool on the dealership. I'll take that. Do run.
You said run?
I said do run.
Do run. Okay. So nervous and do run. That's a good start.
Do run nervous.
Here's the gate. So again, they would have went through this courtyard and made a left over to the cemetery. So when I point out where a cemetery is, I normally explain why we don't actually walk through cemeteries on a tour called Stories in the Cemetery. Because you're walking through one anyway. Charleston has so much tragedy, you're walking on graves all night long. Do you know how many men have died down this damn alley from the duels? And again, who's hanging out where their graves are? If you're dead, is that where you're hanging out? No, you're going to go to your home on the corner of East Bay and Whittier, because that was where your mansion is. You're going to go hang out there. You're not going to hang out at your grave in Philadelphia. So, you know what I mean? You're going to travel. You're going to say, shit, I want to go back home. And that's where you're going to go. So a lot of people end up slave thing down there. A lot of people try to get an EMF from it. It's only happened one time.
Oh, wow.
One time with us. And it was my daughter actually caught it with a guest at the back of the tour. We had a full group that night. And they stopped and did a quick, she pulled out, because she has the same apps as I do, so they did a quick session. They got a couple things out of it, but nobody thought to actually record anything.
So, again, I had her words from it, but I don't know what questions she asked. I don't have an audio, you know what I mean, to verify what was happening. So, but yeah, if you want to listen to your spirit box, by all means you can. But this is the original wall. And again, a lot of these bricks were like pulled out and repaired.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to be like somewhat in the same color, but they're way more flat here. Put this on low too. Still zero. So is this what you guys thought you were getting yourselves into?
Better than I thought that we were getting ourselves into. This is really cool.
Like I was thinking, Marlena, those extra spots are like, we go that way and go up to the cemetery and I tell you about some of the legends, but I don't have any real data that comes out of there.
Yeah.
I get more out of the places we're going, especially like the Pinckney Mansion site. That's another great picture spot. You get the plaque and the steeple in the same spot. Oh. Definitely use a flash so you can read the plaque.
Or just have an iPhone 11 with night mode.
Oh.
I have night mode too.
It's not as
So
good though because you got an Android.
The digital camera that I normally give a guest, I have it set up to no flash because I don't want any false positives. So I don't want any window glares or...
No, this thing's kind of crazy.
Stand back here, dude. You're going to get a way better picture back
Yeah.
here. You only got the
Because
top of the steeple.
that's no flash on just night mode with 3-second exposure.
You're not going to convince me on anything Apple, brother. Sorry.
I know.
I actually converted my wife, the cell phone manager of Best Buy, when we met to get rid of the damn apples.
Yeah, I mean I've got a built
That's
gaming.
it. Really?
I've got a built gaming PC that if I want to mess around with anything, I mess around with stuff on that. I just want
Up to red.
a simple phone just to
Footlet
work.
cars.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Oh no, you're good.
This is the actor studio for Dock Street Theater.
Okay.
All of their equipment's just inside. That's why it's going off. It's giving us a little bit of a rhythm. Watch, it'll just pulse one time.
Okay. I was like,
Pause
well,
again?
when your phone froze, it did it, so.
But the phone freezing, that's a whole different ballgame.
That was. I pressed it and then the light came on.
And
I
it
was
just
gonna
stayed
take a
right
picture.
there.
Yeah, and then when I started going down,
I know,
I didn't
I
do
was like,
anything
what are you
until I went
doing?
back on it. Yeah, and then I took a picture. That was fucking weird.
Yeah.
Now it's
So
asking me to
electronics,
make
if you guys notice too, all of the devices you guys have, like there's no dowsing rods, there's no Ouija boards, there's no tarot cards. Everything is electronic.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is where the real proof comes from, and it's not that I'm not making anything up. Because everybody always says, "Oh, I went on a tour. They did dowsing rods. Those things were great." I'm like, "Yeah, but that's you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you're doing to it. You could be making them sway. I don't know with the slightest little movement. With these, they all work together. You know, I keep throwing spirit boxes and communication devices out. Something's gonna talk.
Something.
So, but I still get people texting me from like 6 months ago because they're using these apps. And they're like, "Can you make something out of this?" I'm like, "I need more backstory. You gotta tell me what the hell's going on. Either Gabriella's pregnant or she needs some iron. You know, something. I can't."
Both.
Yeah, or both. Yeah, this is how quiet it is all the time. Again, there's a cemetery on the other side of this wall.
Yeah. I mean, that's you literally can't hear any of the car traffic like at all back here. That's kind of crazy.
Oh, you can all imagine, like, this is a house right here. This is somebody's home, and then there's another one at the edge. I want to say that one or that. I looked it up one time. I think it's worth about $4 million. This is a historical district, so
Yeah.
I mean, for your address to be 3 Philadelphia Alley, like, that's some cash. That's their backyard. You can hear the water running.
That's really cool.
Start to see some of the fingerprints.
Mhm.
They all through here.
Sounds good.
More fingerprints.
Night blooming jasmine?
Yeah, that's an odd smell.
Smells good.
Yeah, but there's normally not a smell down here.
Smells like a plant.
So I did see something back there with the rain is turned red.
Yeah, but doesn't it turn red with drains?
No, it's a sewer line.
Oh, well, it went full red.
Yeah,
Did it
I
really?
know we were passing it.
Yeah, I stayed on it.
Oh, well, that's still part of the Footlight Tires Club. If you're over there by the stairs, that's
yeah,
why.
it was passing
There you
it.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Footlight Tires Club.
It smells
But
like
that's-
passion.
I want to say it was fruit.
Yeah.
It's definitely fruity.
I love passion fruit.
So I was doing an investigation in Myrtle Beach of Alice Flagg. And Alice Flagg was supposed to get married to somebody. Nobody really knew much about this guy. It was a big, long story. She lost her ring. We go visit the gravesite. And the psychic, he's like, my nose is burning. Like he smells something. He called it putrid. I'm like, dude, I smell flowers. My oldest daughter was with us at the time. And she was just like, I smell something flowery too. He was literally on. He's like, I gotta move. He's like, it's burning my. His eyes were watering. Turns out the fiance was a turpentine salesman. But then Alice loved the smell of. It was some kind of flower. But again, that's what this reminds me of. Is like we're smelling something, and I don't normally smell anything down here.
Yeah.
Like this is foliage. I see one bud right there. That's it. That pinkish. Yeah. I mean, it's still there.
Again, I smell passion fruit.
That's not it.
No, it's not.
It does smell like fruity,
very
yeah.
fruity.
Yeah.
A lot of flowers everywhere.
Yeah. That's the strangest thing. And the fact that it's cold. Cold actually dampens smell. Like this is a cool night for us. Like we shouldn't really be smelling anything strong. This is weird.
Yeah.
But I'll take that passion fruit smell.
Smell good.
I keep smelling
I'm,
yeah.
I'm surprised. Because again, I've never noticed it. I've done it twice a night.
I thought it was a trash can for a second.
Oh, trash can smells great.
It says hormone.
Oh. Aphrodisiacs.
Yeah.
Well, in perfumes, they use hormones from
Well,
other...
at first when you guys said it smells good, I was like, that smells like a perfume.
Effect.
It's strong.
Hormones, aphrodisiacs have an effect on you.
Yeah. Well, they do use
It's on.
perfumes.
Stand right there.
And they're said to use perfumes.
And I don't smell it over
they
here.
use-
Yeah, I don't smell it right here either.
Well, I smelled it super strong right there.
I smell it here.
I smell a little.
I mean, it was real strong back there.
Yeah, I mean, I still smell it, but literally going over there, I don't.
But it came through like
Mhm.
real strong, and then I was like, let me look. There's nothing there.
It's going away now.
That's the weirdest thing. It says another.
Oh, I smell it strong right here. Yeah, that was weird.
Right here, I got it really strong. Like
It's
really,
it's
really
shifting
strong.
around.
Yeah.
Get us a 3D on that, or 360. 3D, 360 on that. Just literally turn in a circle.
Oh, it was really strong right there.
I got it again.
No, but it's not ash color. Like,
No, it's like right
But
here.
I got it again just over here.
yeah, because I don't smell it over here.
Now it's gone.
No, I got it.
Yeah, I smell it. Oh my god, what the fuck is this?
That's moss.
No, that's moss.
No? That's weird. Yeah, I can smell it here. It seems like water that way.
Again, I don't normally put feelings in this shit, but you guys brought it up. Pie.
Maybe they used it for some kind of pie. Shallow.
See, now it's gone. It's not ash color anymore. That's fine.
I don't smell it.
I'm telling you, it's like she's moving around. I don't even know who the hell she would be. Unless it's Amanda, but Amanda would be up in Rhode Island.
Where's it going?
Well, I smell it really strong.
Right here.
No, I don't smell it.
It's
I'm
not
wondering if
again.
it's just something in their backyard.
It might be.
It could be, but the spots are really random.
But why would they say hormones and effects?
Yeah. I don't know.
What is this? Do you know?
Looks like a weight.
There's something engraved on it. Oh, it's strong as fuck.
Yeah, it just got really strong again.
I don't know what that says. M52? CBE? GEB.
GEB.
M52.
Kind of looks like a gravestone, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I thought it was like this is gravestone.
It's like a marker. Gosh, phone this fucker did. That is not go away.
Nope. Hold on.
Here's our hand, Frank.
Oh wow.
Keep smelling it.
Yeah,
Yeah, really strong again.
but you can see the thumb is laid
Oh,
over.
sure. Oh wow. See the whole palm.
Mm-hmm. I'm supposed to do it right now.
Hmm?
I'm supposed to do it right now.
Why are you scared?
Oh no, because we're doing the
Oh.
corporate frequency.
Alright. One last building. So, building over here, this brick one, big giant one, it actually faces East Bay Street. So we're going to check out the front of it. Again, I like to tell the stories back away from where we have a little bit more privacy. So this used to be a cotton warehouse. The back of it obviously was the warehouse. The offices would have been in the front. So it's condos now in the back, and they're turning the front of it into a wedding reception area, 3 floors, and then a rooftop that's going to be considered waterfront. So if you guys aren't married yet, drop 50K, and I'm sure you can get the rooftop without the restroom.
God.
It's going to be expensive. But anyway, so this is the Wagner. Keep that name.
Alright.
They're throwing up there, right?
Those bikes are bad.
I think so.
But anyway, so the story is George Poirier was the last person who had this as a cotton warehouse. He inherited the business from his dad. He had no idea what he was doing. He blew through his inheritance. He was a silver spoon kid. He didn't know shit about business.
Quiet.
Quite.
Oh, quiet. I'm trying to read from far.
No, I know, sorry. I had my hand covering it. So, again, he's up shit creek. He doesn't know what to do with all this cotton. He's just getting himself into more debt. We also had the boll weevil in town, which is a bug that eats cotton. So now the crop is bad, and he doesn't want to sell it to the Americans, so he sells it to the British.
Oh.
So across the
Good
street.
planet, huh? Out of the topic.
What's that?
Must be a planet.
Are you sure that's a planet? It could be
Yeah.
a star.
That's got a color to it. And tomorrow's a full moon. We're at 99% tonight.
Oh wow. That has to be.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know necessarily what
Okay.
I don't know.
You're off topic.
No, he's good. He can research. So
Japanese.
British.
No, it's Japanese.
Oh. So Pineapple Park is right across the street from this building. Have you guys been to Pineapple Park yet, where the piers are?
No, that was the park we were supposed to go to. We don't have the fountain in the middle? and
Yeah.
stuff?
Mhm. So that's what's there now, but again, the water was closer. You watch the ship roll up. He's on the 2nd story floor. There's stories online will tell you the 3rd story. Everything that comes through my data says the number 2, 2nd, thing like that. Anyway, he's watching everything. They unload all the cotton from the back of the warehouse. These are the original doors with horse and buggy, and all the cotton goes to one ship. Somebody gets too close to that cotton wool pipe. The whole ship catches fire, and they all die. He watches everything. So he's already depressed because he can't pay off his American debts with the British money that he got. He didn't get enough to pay it all off. His dad is dead, and now his father's legacy is gone. The cotton warehouse. So what's he do? Piles up all the furniture, puts a captain's chair on the top, climbs it, swings a noose, and hangs himself. It is said that a newspaper kid is the one that found him the next morning. He came down to sell his papes, swinging corpse in the window. So you are going to get us a nice slow sweep on the 2nd story floor. What we're looking for are those blue windows.
And that's on the other side?
On the other side when we get down to East Bay.
Dixon, aim well, okay.
See, it's Mars.
Is it Mars?
Oh,
See, I
that's
thought it was a
so
little
weird.
reddish in color.
You ever know about that? Like, yeah, I did.
That is
Yeah, it's really accurate. What's funny is if you point down, you'll see what's across from Japan.
Yeah.
What's in Japan, guys, right now?
Oh, you know.
Japanese.
Oh,
No, that's what the thing
We got the
said.
word Japanese
Oh, okay.
earlier.
Aim. It says aim.
Aim.
Yeah.
You're aiming.
Yeah, that's really cool though. I wonder why that's why it had so much activity. We actually had quite a bit of activity. So blue windows, if they turn darker blue or black, just go nice and slow. And you don't even have to look at it. Just you can walk and just get them all. If you want to go across the street to try to capture it that way, you can.
Okay.
It's pretty slow at traffic night. The other person that actually comes up when we're looking into this building is Zoe from Coogan's Porch. Now, she is 2 blocks up from where we came out of Philadelphia Alley, but she likes to show up when I'm looking down here because this was the same time period. So we're talking 1880s roughly. Zoe, that used to be a house. That's where she lived with her sister, Elizabeth. Now, Zoe is spelled Z-O-E, not Z-O-E-Y.
It's Zoe.
Right. But that's how she comes up.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
why I know it's her. You ask Zoe what her house looks like now. Restaurant is a lot to muster. It's 3 syllables, not to mention 3 very distinctive sounds. You'll get words like spoon, fork, food, table,
Oh, wow.
eat. Very restaurant-y type words that aren't restaurant. And I've gotten restaurant, but again, high moon, possible planet. We'll see what she can actually muster. She died by falling down the stairs. So I'll get the word stairs, fall. Across the street is a hotel from Coogan's Porch. And Coogan is actually a dog, by the way. Coogan is the dog that, it was a stray when the construction crew was turning Zoe's house into a restaurant. He used to hang out and they used to feed him. Everybody fed him and everybody loved this dog, but he died. And they made a little memorial for him in the front yard. Well, the new owners decided to name their new restaurant after Coogan. So they called it Coogan's Porch. Malice. I don't know what that means. But anyway, so we're listening for who's actually going to come through. Sometimes I get both, sometimes I don't get either, sometimes I just get one. We just never know. So I definitely want you to listen to your spirit box along the way. And I didn't tell you this before, but on East Bay Street, we have a lot of parking meters. And those electrical lines are underneath our sidewalks. So that will make that thing go off like crazy. So I tell people, don't get excited on East Bay Street. And you're in a definitely no laser zone. So sorry, you're kind of out of the game. So it's these two that I actually want to pay attention to. I also normally do a test on the front of this building too. So everybody see the peak in the back? Where it comes to the front? Yeah. In the front of the building, it's actually covered in stone. So it's like a white stone that comes up. And in the center, 5 feet down, there's that same white stone inlaid into the brick. At times, on high activity nights when there's a lot going on there's like a 30-degree difference. 7 to 12 degrees I could see from the wind coming in off the water, but not 30. So I will probably pull out my infrared gun and try to measure it. But if you can try to get the same measurements, are you going to try to go across the street when we get up there?
Yeah.
Okay. So you do that, and I'll do the laser test with you guys. But definitely listen to your spirit box. I'll see what comes up out of mine, and we'll see who we can actually chat with. Sound good? All
When
right.
it has evil words come up on yours, do you ever give it any attention? Like
I do.
Mars?
I pay attention to everything else. Again, I don't get excited when one gadget tells me something. I have to remember that 80% of this is bullshit. So if I get, like for example, the Red Barn lot has kind of a dark corner. So 4 times that I've been doing this, I've had to say, we need to get the hell out of here right now.
Oh, wow.
The last time, I actually took some shit home with me. Like to the point where I got to my car and my epilepsy was flaring up. I couldn't see, my eyes were doing their little jiggly thing that they do, my arms were shaking, like it was a bad deal. I finally made it home. Like I texted my wife a jumbled mess. Normally when it's a jumbled mess, she knows I'm not doing well with my seizures. So I got home and she's just like, what's going on? I said, something's going on. I said, one of my guests was actually expecting one of their family members to come through because it comes all the time, and they're recently deceased. So they have no idea what the hell they're doing. It was just, stuck. It was bad. So she called a few psychic friends of mine. There's a little satchel hanging on the back of my bag. You guys probably noticed it. I was walking in front of you. It's filled with like blood stones, black onyxes, and things to just kind of keep things safer.
Yeah.
But again, if I take shit home, it's never a good deal. Like I actually took the next night off. Like I needed a day just to chill. I mean, I think I've done like 9 nights in a row, 2 tours. Like I've been busy.
Yeah.
But at any rate, I don't pay attention to one thing that says malice. I wait for, all of a sudden we have a really weird red spike there, or he's got something floating across there, and then I get the word evil, or I get heaven backwards, or, you know what I mean? I pay attention to the other signs that are coming up.
What is malice?
To do bad,
Yeah.
evil, to do ill intent.
Or medieval Alice. Alice.
Oh, okay.
But again, the 80% of this is shit. So, dealer, for one, is something that happened during our tour. I did get left and right earlier when we were at the Pinckney Mansion site, which is weird for it to come up together. Like, it was left, and then 2 words later it was like the word right. So I was like, alright, I did get the word bite. Like, I'm not paying attention to that. Unless one of you got bit really bad. Mosquito.
You got bit by a dog years ago, right?
Before, yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah. My arm. Still see the bite.
He was just talking about it earlier.
Yeah, you literally
hang
were
on.
telling me about it yesterday.
What kind of dog was it?
It's a bull mastiff. Mastiff. Something. Yeah. It was like. What was it?
He also got bit by our pit boxer the other day.
Oh yeah.
Bite. Left.
Left right here.
Well, I also got the word right.
Yeah.
Well, which side does Romeo bite you?
On the right.
On the right.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, he did bite me.
You just
right
bit him
there.
the other day.
On Friday.
So maybe it was just trying to tell us you had a bite on your left and right side.
It's
So,
true though.
so here's the thing, like the cool thing about this. I don't always tell you guys exactly what's coming up. That's why I usually leave it out so you guys can see it. And then when I look at it the next day, somebody will text me back and say, you know what, I forgot to tell you I was pregnant, and it came up with the word baby, and September, that's when the baby's due.
Oh.
You know, shit like that. And I hear it all the time. Same scenario with you. Bite left and right.
Yeah.
Like, somebody was kind of noticing, and if you were talking about it today, you were obviously drawing some energy around that particular situation.
Yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah.
So, again, I'll take it. Like, that's not coincidence at all.
That's cool.
You guys actually got a lot of really cool shit, and I'm guessing it's due to this freaking planet so close to the moon right now. What'd you say, Mars?
Yeah, it is Mars.
Mars.
Let's cross legally
always
twice.
know if it's really, really good.
Oh, we're actually gonna wait for that. Come on. Surprised you stopped. Alright, go ahead and turn your spirit box up. Whispering. Rewind by 5 seconds and turn it up. George or Zoe tonight? Husband. Neither one of you had a husband. So you tell us how you died. Yeah. George, are you here too? George, tell us what happened to the ship.
Yeah. I don't really see anything or any crazy temperature differences or anything.
We got a 24-degree difference. Like that's pretty nuts. Again, there's no breeze. There's no
Yeah.
reason for that.
You shot up there?
Yeah, I did. I got a couple slow pans of the second floor and then like one or two at the third
Okay.
as well. So I remember you were saying stuff about like the top peak of the building.
I'm gonna get you guys my card here. That way you guys can kind of check out the website ahead of time if you want to. Because again, a lot of the topics we talked about, there's an article, I've written it, and there's lots of resources. So again, I will text you guys tomorrow. I don't even want to give you a time. It's going to be in the afternoon. And I got 2 more tours tomorrow night. But let me go ahead and get the gadgets back from you guys. We'll see what comes up out of your spirit box, since we really didn't have it on a whole lot. You got an hour and 45 minutes of audio to listen to, which means you probably got, yep, hour and 46 minutes